Greenpeace says Western countries are imposing a new form of colonialism on Africa. This is accomplished through the disposal of biohazardous waste. And this waste is making the already vulnerable sick and putting them at a disadvantage. Let's talk more about this with Angelo Louw from Greenpeace Africa joining us now via Skype. Mr. Louw, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. How bad is this dumping of biohazardous waste on the African continent?
Well, it's pretty bad, and it's becoming more and more frequent. Just last week, the Senegalese authorities captured a German shipping vessel trying to smuggle waste into the country, and so they turned the vessel away and fined them. But the very next day, the same company decided to dock its ship in Mauritania. So this is an ongoing thing, and this is just the most recent sort of incident of European or Western countries trying to or scrambling to ship their plastic waste to the global south.
Why has so-called waste colonialism found its place currently in Africa?
Well, I would say that it's just a sort of colonial habit, right? So African countries or countries in the global majority have always been there to serve or to sort of secure the comfort of former colonial countries and what we now know as the global north or the west. And so it's just a continuation of that sort of mentality and mindset that we're always going to be there to clean up for our former colonizers.
But I mean, we know there have been big efforts on the continent in places like Kenya, for example, to outlaw plastic as a one example, and Kenya doing very well in that respect. I mean, it's a struggle, but it looks like some Western countries are not getting the message.
Well, that's exactly the point, is that there are 35 countries on the African continent that have already put in place some sort of ban to deal with the plastic crisis that we're facing. This is a global crisis, and Africa is leading the way, but that's sort of the issue, is that you find that these Western countries, or sort of the richer, wealthier countries, are trying to shift and bend our laws so that it suits their interests, so that it suits their business interests, and so that it suits their sort of commercial interests. And you find that countries have been fighting back. Kenya recently had pressure from the American Chemistry Council so that they could access Kenya to access 25 other countries to be able to ship plastic waste off to these countries. And so the discussion is much broader than just our governments versus their governments, but it's also the industries that are trying to coerce and co-opt our governments and our decision makers into making decisions that will not benefit us, because plastic is dangerous. As you rightfully said, it's part of the list of things that can be considered as biohazardous.
Okay, finally and very briefly, Mr. Louw, is Greenpeace, or can Greenpeace do something to assist these African countries to really fight off this so-called waste colonialism that's playing itself out in a big way, unfortunately, on the continent?
Yes, and so we have been very active in this space, and we have been calling out governments and calling for stronger measures with governments, and we've been playing a very active role in exposing the plastic waste dumping across the continent. I think that if Greenpeace and several of our partners in the Break Free from Plastic coalition, if we had not intervened, a lot of these cases would go unknown. And so that's what we're trying to do most, is just trying to activate people on the continent to really act and to motivate governments to stand up against this.
Thank you very much, Angelo Louw from Greenpeace Africa, speaking out there against the new phenomenon of waste colonialism, where the West and the North are busy dumping hazardous waste on our continent.